This video is about how to do affirmations and manifestation. There is a lot of interest lately in affirmations and manifestation. Most of the time, people are doing these techniques incorrectly, so they don't work. In the case of manifesting things, this is probably a good thing because most people use their left brain or the inner child / id part of their subconscious to come up with things to manifest, and these parts of the self aren't very reliable decision makers. And if you manifest something for misguided reasons, you could potentially harm yourself or even others. However, my inner guidance has been telling me that it's time to teach how to do these techniques properly. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do in this video. Both of these techniques work with your subconscious to affect the reality you experience. Affirmations work directly with your subconscious to change how you perceive reality. It's a subtle state technique. It can be very deep and powerful, but it's still primarily just a psychological technique, and it can have immediate effects. For example, right before doing something challenging, psyching yourself up by saying and emoting to yourself, "I've got this." Manifestation, on the other hand, actually directly affects the causal layers of reality. Your subconscious has direct access to a causal layer of reality that sits right underneath manifested reality, the probability field. You can use your subconscious to affect changes in the probability field, essentially increasing or decreasing the probability of something in particular coming to be in manifested reality. The time that it takes to manifest is related to how likely it was to occur without your help. If it was already pretty likely, then it might manifest quite quickly, within a few days, a few hours, or even a few minutes. If it's a more significant deviation from the path that you and your reality were already on, it might take significantly longer to show up, a few months or even a few years. Essentially, the difference between affirmation and manifestation is if you're trying to change your own thinking and or behavior, that's an affirmation. If you're trying to change reality outside of yourself, that's a manifestation. However, there's a reason why I'm covering both of these techniques in one video. There's quite a bit of bleed over between them. For one, the steps involved in correctly performing affirmations and manifestation are actually quite similar to each other. For two, you and your reality are ultimately the same thing, so change one and you change the other. Affirmations do manifest changes in reality, and manifesting also changes you. This is actually an important point to remember. When you manifest something, the energy for manifestation always goes through you first. So if you try to manifest something destructive, that destructive energy will go through you and affect you as well. Similarly, if you try to manifest something creative, like abundance or something, that creative energy will go through you too. Destruction isn't always bad, and creation isn't always good. For example, healthy digestion is destruction working properly, and cancer is a form of too much creation and abundance. If you're doing a lot of destruction type manifestation, you could get too much destruction type energy flowing through you and end up destroying things in your life that you don't want destroyed. If you're doing a lot of creation or abundance type manifestation, you could get too much creation type energy flowing through you and, for example, end up making yourself overweight or giving yourself cancer. So some more caveats. For affirmations, you usually can't mess this up too badly. Worst thing that will happen is it doesn't work, or you end up causing the opposite effect of what you wanted. For example, instead of being more confident, you end up feeling more insecure. But it's usually just a psychological effect, which can be quite distressing, but at least you're not fucking up your fate path. Manifestation, on the other hand, can be very powerful, and you can cause yourself or others real harm with this. I think this is the I think this is what the be careful what you wish for fables are warning against. When you successfully perform manifestation work, whatever you ask for will take the path of least resistance to manifest, which may not be what you intended. For example, if you successfully manifest a lot of money that you weren't due to have at this point in your life, money is simply a form of energy. The path of least resistance might be to draw that energy from your future self. So you end up rich now, but poor later. Or it might be to take the energy from another aspect of your life. So you get rich, but the energy comes from your health. So you end up very sick. Or it might be to take it from someone close to you in your life. We're all connected energetically. So someone you care about dies and they leave you money. So yes, you're now rich, but was it really worth it? So I strongly advise only doing manifestation work if your inner guidance indicates that it's a good idea. And even then, I would recommend putting something into your wording to make sure that however it happens, one, is in your best interests, and two, doesn't harm anyone else. So now that you're properly forewarned, here's how to do these techniques. In both cases, literally what you're doing is describing to your subconscious what you want to be the case so that it makes that happen for you. Because you're talking to your subconscious, you need to use methods of communication that it understands. The language needs to be, one, positively worded. The subconscious doesn't understand negators, so if you ask for not X or for X to stop, it won't understand the negative concept and will end up giving you more of X, not less. Two, present tense. If you phrase it with the future tense, like I will be courageous or I will win the Olympic gold medal, then what you will be manifesting is a constant state of that being in your future. You'll never actually reach it. And three, it needs to be specific. Your subconscious doesn't understand abstract concepts, so you need to make your wording as concrete and vivid as possible. And while you say the verbal description, you need to vividly experience it in your mind as though you're living it right now, with surround sound senses, vivid visuals, sounds, smells, sensations, tastes. Imagine it so vividly that you believe for a second that it's really happening, like how you experience a dream. And emotions, how you feel in this reality. If you emote wanting it, then you'll manifest wanting it, and it will never actually happen. Instead, you need to emote having it. How does it feel to already be living in this reality? If you're struggling with the very common feeling that you're lying by saying that this is true right now, these perspectives might help. One, while you're living in the imagined reality in your mind, it is true for you. So you're not lying. You're describing what is true for you in that moment. Two, time doesn't really exist. So nothing is actually in the future and nothing is actually in the past. Everything is literally superimposed on top of each other. So all realities are true right now. So a couple of examples. An affirmation might sound like, I love myself today. And you could be visualizing doing lovely self-care, like cooking yourself a beautiful, healthy meal and tasting the love in it, and feeling overflowing love for yourself. Some manifestation work I did recently was to get accepted as a student at the University of Oxford, which is, incidentally, where I am right now. I'm in Magdalen College. Well, I'm visiting Magdalen College. My college is actually Harris-Manchester College. My manifestation mantra was pretty lengthy, but it started with, I am a student of the classics at Oxford University. And it ended with, and all of this has come to pass in such a way as to be for the greatest and highest good for myself, for everyone involved, for humanity, for the world, and for consciousness itself. And it involved visualizing living in Harris-Manchester College, which is the college I wanted to get into at the University of Oxford, studying Plato in the original Greek in a library, meeting kindred souls in my colleagues, and involved feeling relieved, excited, happy, intellectually stimulated, fulfilled, and well supported, along with a deep sense of camaraderie. That's what one repetition is like. But you're usually going to want to do lots of repetition. In the case of affirmations, you're burning new neural pathways, and that takes a lot of consistent repetition over time. And in the case of manifestation, you're carving a new groove in causal reality. So, for example, this could look like repeating it over and over for 10 to 15 minutes a day, for example, while you do your morning cardio. For each repetition, make sure it's as vivid as you can get it. Yes, it's going to be hard sometimes, especially when you're having a bad day, but those are the times when you need it the most. Do the repetitions until you do feel it. If you're really not able to find the vibe, don't beat yourself up. That's counterproductive. Just try again later. Maybe after you've done some self-care, emotional processing, and or shadow work. I'll put links in the description below for help with those. Apologies for the airplane overhead. I've decided I'm not going to cut this audio or edit it. I'm just going to get this video out however it goes. So, yeah, sometimes it's not working to send your subconscious a message because you haven't been receiving messages from your subconscious lately. Remember, communication is a two-way street. Then, after your repetitions, let go. Let go of how it might actually come to pass. Yes, you want to be super vivid and specific in your wording, visualization, and emoting. But after you do your repetitions, let go of how it might actually happen and what it might actually look like. One way to do this is to get curious about how it's going to show up. Then, forget that you asked for anything by, for example, going into witnessing states or putting your entire attention on something else. You don't need to do this for long, but you do need to let go completely, even if just for a second. If you don't, it's like you're holding on to this letter that you're trying to send to your subconscious in the case of an affirmation, or to the universe in the case of manifestation. If you keep holding on to it, it never gets sent. So you have to let it go. So how long do you keep this up, doing these repetitions every day? In the case of affirmations, however long it takes for you to believe it and experience it as your new reality. But if you do it for a month and you're not getting any traction, you might look at either trying out a different affirmation or trying a different approach, like shadow work, hypnosis, EFT, or psychotherapy. In the case of manifestation, I've found that repeating for 10 to 15 minutes a day, every day for a few months is pretty good for a big thing. However, if it takes a shorter time than that to manifest, then for as long as it takes to manifest. If you're doing manifestation work, then while you're doing it, it can also be very helpful to simultaneously open up the flow of energy so that whatever it is can come to you. This means being generous, giving something valuable without reward or expectation. Reward or expectation includes recognition, so no one can know it was you. You can't receive a thank you, and you can't get a tax break about it either. This opens up the flow of energy. If you're grasping, you're blocking the flow of energy. You have to give what you don't need to make space to receive what you do need. A couple of examples. 1, give away the most valuable thing you own that you don't use. Just put it in a nondescript box and drop it off at a Goodwill. Or 2, anonymously give away a good chunk of your income for 1 month, like 20%. So however much you normally receive as an income for 1 month, give 20% of that away. Yes, it means tightening your belt a little for that month. That's the point. If it doesn't feel like you're going to have to go without something, then it's not enough, and you'll need to give more to open up the energy. Incidentally, you can also do this practice when you're not manifesting anything specific, especially if you're feeling stuck in your life. Give away something valuable that you don't really need, without reward or expectation. It will open up energy for you to receive whatever you do need. In fact, this can be far more effective than manifestation work, because your higher self, your fate path, etc., know far better than you do what you actually do need.